Welcome to another episode of the Purple Huddle Podcast. I'm Brandon here with Kevin. Kevin, what's going on?
Not much. How you doing? Interesting week
Um,
one.
yeah, yeah, very interesting. A lot of stuff went on. It wasn't as wild as last year's week one, but it was a lot of interesting final scores. Let's put it that way. A lot of things happened that I didn't see coming. But
Lots of beatdowns.
yeah, yeah, it was a defensive day, but a couple of
That it
the
was.
couple guys really scored up, came up big on the scoreboard for sure.
Yep.
All right, so Derp he was questionable heading into the show, and he got ruled out right the
Yeah.
uh before we got on the air here. Hope everything's well with him. He more than likely will be back next week. But I truly am convinced that he's psychic. I don't know who you picked in these games, but he picked the Lions over the Chiefs, successful. He picked the Jets over the Bills, successful, and he picked the Browns over the Bengals, successful. Like
Wow.
crazy. Like and then of course when Aaron Rodgers went down, pretty much I'm
Mhm.
sure most of America was thinking that the Bills were going to pull it off on top of, those that did pick them like myself. And they fucked around and lost. But
You want
but
to know
the Bills
colossal
did.
heartbreak?
Huh?
There was a bar that said if the Jets lose, they would give a free bar tab.
Okay.
Everybody's bar tab was free. So when Rogers went down, the place went nuts, and then the Jets came back and won.
I feel like I saw a headline or something and I
Yeah,
didn't click on it. I want to say Derp
yeah,
sent it to our Pixley group chat and I didn't
yeah.
click on it, but I heard something about that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
The owner said that the Jets lost that he would give everybody a free bar tab.
Yep.
And they said that place went nuts when
Mm,
Rogers went down. And then he fucked around
man.
and found out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they escaped MetLife with a win, but I don't know about moving forward. Obviously, everybody's concerned with the fact that Zach Wilson's going to be the guy and what he's going to look like based off of his first couple years in the league. It's I mean, but that defense, man, and that run
That
game, I
defense is
know,
brutal.
yeah, the one thing I will say offensively, the guys are there at the skill position uh points or whatever, but the run game, it looked pretty good Monday night. But the thing is, what was it? Brees Hall had like one big rush. So a
Yeah.
lot of their yardage came on one big play. So we'll see how they look moving forward. But that defense will definitely help out, as far as at least giving him the opportunity to score.
Yeah.
They'll have some short fields and everything. They might get a lot of points with the kicker, but that defense, man, looks very good for sure.
Yeah. It would be one of the things you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. But in other news, bear down. Kevin, man, love is in the air. Before we get into our three games that we picked, I gotta ask you about the Bears and Packers, man, because I picked the Packers myself. I was the only one in my picks league that did. Uh, I don't trust Jordan Love. I still got to see a little bit more from him, but man, it was a
Ugh.
long day pretty much after that first quarter, man. Y'all was after him early on, and then it just, he started picking y'all apart. How do you feel about this one?
He- oh man, it was just a bad defense, bad performance all the way around. I mean,
Yeah.
defense couldn't get anything going, couldn't get the rush, couldn't stop the run, couldn't stop the pass.
Hmm.
I mean, offense,
Guys were just wide open
yeah,
for Green Bay, I will
yeah. I
say.
mean, yeah. I mean, our corners. I think they've forgotten how to play football. I mean, you had guys open right and left. I mean, and then when it comes to our offense, shoot, he got where the hell was the offensive line? He
Yeah.
almost got sacked four
Well,
times.
that's that's
Four
that's been a
times.
concern heading into this year anyway with
It's
them.
been a concern for the last 3 years, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
and they still
Yeah.
haven't addressed it yet. I
Yeah.
mean, it, when your leading rusher is your quarterback,
Hmm.
and he still only rushes for 59 yards, there's something seriously wrong.
Yeah, and they
I
have
mean,
talent at the
Herbert.
running back position, so
Well, they got no.
it's
Yeah, well, I mean, they got
yeah.
talent there. They got
They just
Herbert.
don't have
We
a
got
line. Yeah.
they have, but they got no push. That
Yep.
that front line got no push. They're not opening any holes. They're surely not
Hmm.
protecting the quarterback because Justin Fields was running for his life the whole game. And then
Got
it's
that
like,
right.
and then on the other side, our cornerbacks, I guess they forgot how to cover somebody because all game they sit there, they watch them catch the ball, then they try to tackle them.
Yep.
Jump a route, do something. Go man, go man to man. Knock them off the line of scrimmage. You got the
Yep.
first 5 yards to put your hands on them. You got to do something because I thought for sure when Aaron Rodgers left that we were no longer going to be the Packers bitch. Yeah, that ain't the case.
Yeah. Right.
I thought for
I
sure
didn't.
we would. I thought for sure we would have Jordan Love running for his life. I really did. I had a lot of faith in the defense going into the game because I knew the offense was the offense. That offensive
Yep.
line was bad, but I thought for sure our defense would at least do something. And I
Yep.
can't blame the defensive line because they only held them to 92 yards rushing.
Hmm.
But when you give up 245 yards in the passing game, you really don't need a rush. You
And
know?
turnovers were a factor as well. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Justin Fields lost a fumble, and then he threw that interception, that pick six to Quay Walker, a linebacker, defensive lineman of all people.
I didn't tell me
And
about it, right?
yeah, I mean that
But you
again, when
really
you
can't.
can't win that turnover battle, it's not good.
Yeah, but I mean, even the Packers had two fumbles, but
Yeah.
we could do nothing with them.
Yep.
Because they didn't even lose and they fumbled the ball and got it right back.
Yeah, they got him back. Yep.
They got them right back. So it was like,
Hmm.
you know, it was not a
Yeah.
good day for me.
Yep.
Not as a Bears
Well, I
fan,
understand.
not as a Ravens fan. It was just, oh my God. And we'll get into that in a little bit on why people are probably thinking, but they won. Why are you so upset? Well, we'll get into that in a minute.
Definitely. And speaking of that, let's go right into that Ravens and Texans game, home opener. Baltimore won 25-9. Tell us why you aren't so happy, Kevin.
Couple of things. Well, first of all, everybody wants to blame the offensive line for Lamar having to run for his life. When you've got guys, when you're looking and Zay Flowers is 10 yards downfield wide open, and you've got enough time to throw the ball, why are you tucking and running?
Yeah.
Why are you not your second read is OBJ of all people. You just gotta throw the ball up and that man will get it.
Yeah.
But you're taking a sack.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The other thing is we lost 4 starters in this game. 4.
Yeah. As
The,
usual.
J.K. Dobbins, he wanted to run his mouth all preseason. I'm gonna stay healthy. I'm gonna do my sit-in. What is it? Third play of the game, fourth play of the game, torn Achilles. He's done.
Yep.
Stanley, I'm sorry. I know he's day to day with a high ankle sprain, but I'm sorry. Stanley's just soft in my opinion. He is
He's
because
just
if he
what?
soft,
All soft. Okay.
yeah, he's just soft. I'm sorry, and the man could probably break me in half with one finger, but it seems like even in like preseason, even in training camp, if somebody would step on his foot the wrong way, he'd be out for 2 days.
Mhm.
I know he got rolled on. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, well, he got rolled on. He's hurt." He's soft, but but then yet and and I'm just going to contradict myself a little bit. But then yet they had to hide his helmet for him not to go back in the game.
Mhm.
So I don't know what to think about that injury. I don't know if he decided, oh, if they're not going to go back in my game, I'm going to milk it or what, or they found something. The one that really concerns me, the one that I'm two of them that I'm well, two of them I'm really concerned about. The one that really concerns me is Lindenbaum.
Yeah,
They
for
said he's
sure.
week to week, and we don't
That's top
have
priority.
right.
Yep.
We don't have a decent center. We have a
Yep.
center, but we don't have a good center.
Yeah.
And the other one is Williams. I mean, because
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on. All Harbaugh's giving us on that one is that oh, he's gonna be out for a significant amount of time. What's a significant amount of time? 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks?
Yeah.
10. Is he gonna be out until like the 10th game of the season? That scares me because the last time he did that, we all know was Rashad Bateman,
Hmm.
who ended up missing the entire season. But then you go on the other side of the ball. I thought our defense played good. I mean, even though they gave up 242 yards in the passing game, they only gave up 80 yards in the rushing game. But we got to figure out a way of getting four to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I like all these fancy stunts and twists and you know and trick? Yeah, I'm a fan just like everybody else. But at the end of the day, when you do that, you're giving up your back end, and our back end being depleted as it is now, you can't give any more than you can't give you can't willingly give something up.
Yeah.
They're going to have to figure out a way of getting forward to the quarterback now because next man up, but next man up still not as good as Williams. So that's just my rant. I give Texas all the credit in the world. They battled, and they got their field goals. We did keep them out of the end zone, was good, but I mean, boy, was that a costly win, and not in a good way.
Yeah, I'm
What
definitely
about
on the same page with you. Sorry. Regards to the injury that concerns me the most is Lindenbaum. Uh, we saw how well he played last year. He's in the year two now. He's obviously uh well acclimated with Lamar and everything. We know as Ravens fans, Ronnie Stanley's gonna miss games. So that didn't even concern me on that side. We know that J.K. Dobbins is gonna miss games uh based on his career as well so far. So that didn't
he's
concern
done
me
for the
either,
season?
especially yeah, I'm just saying in general,
Mhm.
especially the fact that we have Gus Edwards and Justice Hill behind him. As long as we don't lose two running backs, I think we're fine. It's when we start losing two or more, we get those guys off the street. They don't know the pre-snap uh, movements. They don't know the snap count, all that stuff. It was just a mess the year that all three of those guys were out,
Mhm.
and we had to get guys off the street. Um, Marcus Williams, I obviously want him back soon as well, but I think having a Brandon Stevens back there,
Mhm.
he's a veteran now. He's played, multiple snaps over the past couple years. I think we're okay. You know what I'm saying? I think we're not drowning in that part of the secondary. Obviously, the issue, like you said, is on the corners. And again, back to the injuries is Lindenbaum. But my main takes from this game was 13 penalties for 106 yards. Absolutely ridiculous, man. A lot of these penalties were pre-snap penalties. Was it Justin Matabikwe had two personal fouls? If I'm not mistaken, they were both on one drive. And it's like, come on, bro, get your head in the damn game. Like, pick it up,
Yeah,
man.
but
We can't have that stuff.
yeah, and
But
the sad part about it, some of them were ticky tack, but yeah, that comes from not playing in the preseason.
yeah, and I mean, that's a whole nother topic, and that crossed my mind as well on Sunday. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense, but like we need to get back to playing again in the preseason, in my opinion. Yes, injuries happen. You don't want your starters to get out, but at least get them out there for one drive, get knock the rust off. A lot of these guys don't play at all during the preseason. And this is why week one is so unpredictable because you got a lot of guys that besides practice and those scrimmages, they haven't really played together. You know what I'm saying? It's no real live game action, no matter whether you're playing another team that is resting all their starters, the second or the third team, however they do it, at least get them out there on the field for one series. But one last point, in my opinion, as far as this game goes, man, we still have problems with covering the tight end and these wide receivers getting open for Houston. Like we see that guys that didn't even have a name that I hadn't even heard about was getting open. And we all know who we got next week. Uh Joey Burrow, who I had as my preseason MVP pick. We all know he probably is not gonna have another game like this, definitely not two games in a row. And we all know who those guys he throw to, the Higgins, the Boyd, and of course Jamar Chase. So we got to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? I can deal with giving up yards through the air long as we clamp down on the run. We've always been good at stopping the run. So luckily, like you said, 72 yards on the ground, that's not bad. I expect us to give up a lot of yards this coming week to Cincinnati. One, again, because they're coming off of a blowout loss where they really got contained and they got exposed. And two, we're very thin at the cornerback position. So yeah, we'll see how it goes as far as these injuries go. Hopefully, again, injuries happen, but hopefully we don't get bit anymore because it seems like the last couple years it's just been one after another
And I'll trade
for sure.
touchdowns for field goals. I mean, like if they, I don't care. They can give up 500 yards of offense as long as they keep them out of the end zone and constantly make them kick field goals, and we go in and we get into the end zone. I'll trade for that. But what they got to do is they gotta figure out a way of stopping these guys going across the middle.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
thought we
that's
had
always
that.
been a key.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I thought we had that solved. I thought with why am I blanking of his name?
Hamilton and Williams.
Yeah, I thought we had
Yeah.
that solved, and now with Williams being back out, we don't know.
hmm I mean, we've never been good historically covering the tight end. The wide
No.
receivers, depends on there for a while. Of course, when we had Humphrey and Marcus Peters, they were all right, but Peters liked to bite on his routes a lot. You know,
Mhm.
we had different variations at the cornerback position over the years. So, you know, I've always, as a Ravens fan, have at least 2 or 3 games known that we were going to get dashed, like you said, at 500, 600 yards. But generally, it was like a lot of the commentators were like the Ravens give up a lot of yards between the 20 and the 20, but when you get down in that red zone, you're pretty much not going anywhere. So again, I'll take that as well. Long as we don't get dashed on the ground. I just coming back from the Ray Lewis days, I've always been a fan of stopping the run, man. I've always been a fan of not giving up a lot of yards on the ground. So yeah, I agree with you to an extent for sure. All right, let's go to Giants and Cowboys, man. What a blowout, man. My dad used to always say his Giants were bad on primetime games, man. But Sunday night was a downright embarrassment. But not for Derp's team, of course. We wish Derp was here, but we both don't have a lot on this one. I didn't watch the entire game, only watched the first half. Um, but again, the Cowboys, we all saw it, shut out the Giants there at MetLife. It turned quick on that blocked field goal. From there, it was like a light switch. They scored the touchdown, then I think they got a pick six after that, or got another defensive score, a special team score, and it was just one thing after another. Um, you know, New York again started good on that first drive. They were running the ball. Daniel Jones had himself a couple rushes in there, as he always does. He was making a couple plays through the air, and it seemed like okay, we might have ourselves a contest. And then again, it just was downhill from there. Dallas and Dak, they didn't even really have to do that much. Like you look at Dak's stat line: 13 for 24, 143 yards. The run game, I'm sure Tony Pollard answered some of the critics' questions. 14 carries, including myself. I've been questioning whether he can carry that load all the way by himself. 14 carries, 70 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Um, just a good game for Dallas. And that defense, man, 7 sacks. Let me go to their full stat line because I had it written down.
I
Dallas's
got I got
seven
here.
sacks, 12 quarterback hits, thank you, and 3 takeaways altogether. So yeah, that defense looks like the real deal. I know Derp has been raving on his defense, thinking that they were going to be number one in NFL. And after um, week one, I think
Mhm.
their main challenger right now is San Francisco, based on how they played in Pittsburgh on Sunday. But yeah, this Dallas defense came to play. A downright embarrassment there for the Giants. They need to get this turned around. I know that I think they travel out west next week. We'll get into their schedule later on in the show. But what did you think about this game? Did you watch any of it?
I watched some of it. To me, I just put giant beat down.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, Daniel Jones, he got sacked twice. I mean, we got sacked 7 times, 2
hmm
interceptions. I mean, your leading rusher, Saquon, they fed him the ball 12 times for 51 yards, and then Daniel Jones ended up being your second leading rusher for 43 yards on 13 carries. and like I said, it gets back to what I said before. When your quarterback is one of your leading rushers, it's going to be a bad day.
Yeah.
And then it was. I mean, what he had. I mean, the receiving team as a whole had 110 total yards.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
For a
CD,
revamped group, it
yeah,
didn't look good.
yeah. I mean, CD Lamb and Brandon Cooks did that by themselves. They had
Hmm.
99 yards by themselves. It's like they had almost as many yards receiving as Daniel Jones had passing.
Hmm.
And look, and I agree with Pollard. He did answer a lot of critics. You know
Yep.
that he can be the mainstay as the main running back in this offense.
Yep.
But that defense just they put their throat on the Giants and they weren't going to let up.
Hmm.
I mean, when a quarterback rating is 32.4 and their QPR is 8.4,
Uh,
you know you had your defense had a monster day against that
yep.
quarterback. And it was brutality at its best. I hate to say it, but that was like it was almost like a it was almost like a SEC team playing secondary college. You
Yep.
know, it was like Notre Dame playing. I don't know, like Fresno. I'm not Fresno State, but like Appalachian State or something.
Hmm.
It was just a beat down. But I mean, there's really nothing you could talk about. It was just
Yeah,
bad.
for sure.
It was bad. Yep. Speaking of bad, I guess we can get into touchdown terps. The guys are 2-0. And I'm happy with that. I am. I'm not happy with the plays. I mean, the all we first quarter. Let's see here. We give up a touchdown in the first drive. Then they throw for a pick six. Then all of a sudden you're down 14-0 to Charlotte. But then I will give it to defense. Defense bared down. And the Terps scored 9 in the second, 9 in the third, and 21 in the fourth quarter. And when you hold a team to two scoreless quarters and only 6 points in the fourth, that's good, but they got to do it consistently. And right now, I don't know if that offense is going to hold up. I don't know if that defense can hold up because if this happens to you against Charlotte, what's going to happen when you play Michigan or when you
Yep.
or when you play Penn State? Guys that
Hmm.
look like they have pro rosters on their offensive and defensive lines. I'm happy with the 38-20 win. I'm glad that they're 2-0. But man, there are going to be some questions going into this week. And that's really all I have for touchdown Terps, guys.
Got you. I'm no college football fan, but I don't know if you saw the Texas Alabama game.
No,
Not for
I
what happened. Go ahead.
no, I didn't see it. I can only
Okay.
imagine though.
Yeah, not for what happened on the field, but I was of course, Pat McAfee got a big contract with ESPN,
Mhm.
and I just so happened to be flipping channels right before the game came on, and I noticed that he was doing his show live, kind of like a Manning cast. I don't know if you ever got
Mhm.
into that. They're really good,
Yeah, I
for
like the
anybody.
Manning.
Yeah, man, they're great. For anybody that hasn't watched the Manning cast, I'm not promoting them, but go watch them. They're good. And then I saw that Pat McAfee again was going to do a live show uh as well. And I'm like, man, this is probably gonna be good, because I've watched clips of him on social media and
Mhm.
stuff. And it was him, former Packers linebacker AJ Hawk,
Mhm.
and I think Darius Butler, if I'm not mistaken, he played for the Patriots when he
Mhm.
won the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. And then he had three other guys. I think they're more like comedian sports guys, but they know what
Right.
they're talking about. And these guys, man, were flawless, man. If I don't know how often they're going to be doing it live like that. I
Mhm.
did happen to watch his show on ESPN since it's been there. I think it's in their second week. they're really good as well on there, but like they were really good. Like they legit were in both corners of both end zones. Three guys were on one side, the other guys on the other. So when Pat and them couldn't see the opposing
Right.
teams down on that side, they sent it to them guys. They had live interviews, just like
Oh, nice.
uh Peyton and Eli. But the one difference between Peyton and Eli is that there actually was at the game. So that was pretty cool down there.
That's cool.
I know Pat McAfee mentioned that he had a woman told him, I think she flipped him off and told him to go home or something like that. And she was an Alabama fan, and he wasn't being biased because I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
don't think he even played for either of them schools. He was like, it was like end of the third quarter. Texas was starting to pull away, and he was like, "Well, look, the lady is gone home." They were hilarious though. So if y'all ever, I don't know if they'll be back on the air or when they part will, tune into that for sure. They're definitely entertaining. You're listening to the Purple Auto podcast with Kevin and Brandon. What most people thought was going to be a competitive AFC North showdown in Cleveland ended with Myles Garrett showing his basketball skills at one point. I don't know if you saw that before, one of the snaps on defense. Man, he was just like, basically like, I own you in a sense. But yeah, the
Yeah.
Browns tossed the Bengals in Lake Erie. Kevin, what happened in that one?
Well, honestly, this was another one. This was like a total. To
Yeah,
me, it was a shocker. I mean, I
same.
wasn't shocked about Sean Watson because we know what he can do. 16 for 29, 154 yards.
Yeah.
You know, and he was sacked 3 times. But Joe Burrow to have a total of 82 yards passing and
Hmm.
to only score 3 points. I mean, I don't. This the offense. It was like they were non-existent.
Hmm.
Because I
For
mean,
sure.
even they couldn't get anything going. They couldn't open up the hole. Mixon only got 13 attempts for 56 yards. I mean, Jamar Chase had 39 yards in receiving. I mean, when you shut down Mixon and you shut down Jamar Chase, and T Higgins comes away with nothing.
Yep.
That's a That's a good day for your defense. I
Hmm.
mean, Nick Chubb ran 108 yards on that defense, and Watson threw 154, 24 points. It was just like it was like again, it was like Cleveland. I think honestly, I think Cincinnati overlooked Cleveland,
Yeah.
thinking they're the little sister. They're the same Cleveland team that I tell people not to sleep on anymore because they have us this week,
Yep.
and it bit on the ass.
Hmm.
I mean, 'cause if you look at the overall team stats for that game, Bengals had 6 first downs. The Browns had 21 first downs. The Yep, the total plays,
Damn.
Bengals had 50. I mean, the Bengals had 54, and the Browns had 72. Total yards of offense, 142 total yards of offense to the Browns 350 total yards of offense. It was a lopsided game, and the Browns had the ball 35 minutes and 50 seconds to 24-10 for Cincinnati. When you can't get nothing going on offense, when your defense is tired and you can't hold on to the ball, that's just bad recipe.
For sure.
Yep, yep. What about you? What you got on it?
Yeah, I got a couple points on this game. You hit on everything pretty much. I was thinking just I saw a stat line after the game that and I think that Cleveland really exposed um Cincinnati because we all know how high powered offense they
Hmm.
have there in the Nasty Natty. But Cleveland's defense blitzed Joey B 39% of the time. And apparently on an average game, he's only blitzed about 18%. So
Oh,
I
really?
hope that Mike McDonald, our Ravens defensive coordinator, takes notes and can hopefully do something similar to that. But again, I know that they're likely not to have such a game like this again. Definitely not back to back because every team makes adjustments, all that kind of stuff. And the Cincinnati Bengals are no scrubs, so I definitely see an improvement coming for next week. But yeah, just a nugget there. 39% blitz rate for Cleveland against Cincinnati on Sunday compared to a normal 18. And then the wide receivers, like you said, you mentioned T. Higgins, he was shut out. Tyler Boyd 2 for 10 and Jamar 5 for 39. We all know that it's generally one guy that definitely goes over 100 yards for them. And if he's not over 100 yards, he's just about there. If the other guys, the other two aren't capable of getting open or making plays in that certain game. And then they add in Irv Smith from the Vikings, who's a big pass catcher as well, and he
Mhm.
only goes 3 for 17. So yeah, they very good game plan there for the Browns defensively. And then you mentioned overlooking the Browns. They may have because Jamar Chase, came out after the game. I'm sure you saw this little bit of a press conference. He called them
Bunch of
elves.
elves. Yeah.
So
He got beat
uh
by a bunch of elves. I saw that.
definitely some bulletin board material for the next time. Of course, anybody that's sitting under a rock doesn't know that they're division rivals, so they will play each other again. This
Mhm.
time it'll be in Cincinnati. So we'll see how it goes and how that bulletin board material is used in that Browns locker room heading into their next contest with Cincinnati later in the year for
Yeah.
sure.
And what I would like to, I would love to know, and I know it's never on a stat line, so unless you're a coach, don't say. I would love to know out of that 39% rushing, how many times they went in with four and got
Exactly.
and got to him
And
because
got home, yeah.
to shut down that wide receiving core like that, you're not going to tell me you were doing safety and corner blitzes like all the time like we
Hmm.
do
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's no way because somebody would have gotten open. I would love to know
Yeah.
how many times out of that percentage, how many times they went with just with a 4-man rush and got to him because that's our problem and that's what we're going to need to do.
Mhm.
We're going to need to get to him with a 4-man rush, and if we don't, he's going to pick you apart. If we have to
Oh,
go
for sure.
to safety
We've
and
seen
corner
that before.
blitzes, we see it
Yeah.
all the time. He will pick Burrs will pick you apart, and we're
Yeah.
seeing now Watson will do the same thing. So
Yep.
this isn't your daddy's this isn't your daddy's Pittsburgh Ravens AFC North anymore. We got four legit
Yep.
teams that are all
Hmm.
hungry.
Yeah, and Cincinnati is one of those teams you do not want to send the corner blitzes very often.
No, not
Definitely
at all.
safety either, but no defensive back blitzes. You want to get hit home with the front four, the front seven at the least, right there. So, um, yeah, and I know it's funny you mentioned that. Like, how are we going to go about it as well? I just think back to when, of course, he's gone, but Don Wick Martindale, he used to do that all the time, send the corner blitzes when we were thin at corner and safety. Like he'd do it on the weeks when we were two or three
Mm-hmm.
down, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? So hopefully, if our guys down this week, the coming week, it's a chance Marlon Humphreys can play from last I heard. I'm not sure I want him out there against these guys. I want him full strength, but of course it's not my choice.
Right.
Don't do that, Mike McDonald.
Mm.
Get home or either just get dashed. You know what I'm saying? Just get dashed by doing it the old school way and just sending four or the front seven. Don't do it by doing stupid ass plays. Or if you do it, just do it once or twice and get it done and over with
And
for
speaking of
sure.
Wink, and speaking of Martindale, you know who he's the defensive coordinator now for,
Giants,
don't you? The Giants.
Giants. Yeah,
They got
yeah,
40 put up on that defense.
yeah, for sure. All right. Let's look at some of the other week one scores around the NFL. Detroit, they beat Kansas City in the season opener. Falcons crushed the Panthers. Jaguars were over the Colts 31 to 21. Bucks beat the Vikings. Saints, they edged out the Titans. The 49ers put it on the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Commanders, they beat the Cardinals in the first game under their new ownership. What else is new? The Packers beat the Bears. Raiders over the Broncos. Eagles topped the Patriots. Dolphins, they left Los Angeles with a win over the Chargers. I feel like I said one of them wrong. Well, either way, Rams upset Seattle, and the Jets beat the Bills after losing Rodgers. Kevin, any of these games really stood out to you?
If you want to know, well, of course you know my Bears, but that's not here nor there. But the one that shocked me was Tampa Bay beating Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Same.
I didn't I was not seeing that. I couldn't see that coming. I mean, there was a lot of shockers. I mean,
Yeah.
one that shocked me too, and it might going back was the Thursday night game, Detroit coming back and beating Kansas City.
Yep.
Did not see that one coming either. Now, New Orleans and Tennessee. I know a lot of people pick New Orleans to take the division. I personally picked Tennessee to take the division. That was what I thought it was going to be a back and forth contest.
Yep.
And I picked Atlanta, and Atlanta. I was a proud papa seeing Atlanta beat Carolina 24-10 because I picked Atlanta to take that division, and people
Mm.
looked at me like I have four heads. But also, what happened with Pittsburgh? I mean, 30 points.
Oh
San
man.
Francisco, 30 points on
Yeah.
is is San Francisco just that good, or is Pittsburgh just that bad? I mean, Pickett did throw for 232 yards in that game, but and Purdy threw for 220. But my God,
Yeah.
I mean, you're just seeing that with the Pittsburgh team. So, how about you? What stood out to you?
Yeah, going to that 49ers Pittsburgh game, I just think the 49ers are just that good. I think the Steelers will be all right. I look at a lot of week one trends. Um, and I remember last year they played, I think it was Cincinnati, and that defense showed out for Pittsburgh. They had a similar game to Dallas, uh, or had over the Giants
Mhm.
last year. I mean, the other night compared to their Pittsburgh's week one last year win over Cincinnati. Again, I just think the 49ers are just that good because I remember going to that game. Of course, I picked the 49ers, but I thought it would be a little bit closer than 30-7. And apparently, just the pure beatdown they had, it was like uh, they had 1 yard at some point. And I want to say that
Yeah,
was like late first quarter, early second. I can't remember, but I just remember seeing on social media. And then another one that caught my eye was the Eagles and the Patriots, man. That game was a little bit closer than I
yeah,
thought it was going to be for sure. And the Patriots had a chance at the final minute or so when they were driving downfield and it was a fourth down play and uh, Mac Jones threw a beautiful pass to one of the receivers, if I'm not mistaken, and he was right there on the left sideline, and he got 1 foot in and just couldn't get that right foot in. And if it wasn't for one of the Eagles defenders kind of putting a hand on him, pushing him out, he might have had that foot in, and they still would have been driving downfield in the red zone. And I think, oh, honestly, I felt like the Patriots would have won it at that point. I think they had enough time on the clock and they had, enough plays in the arsenal. They look like a better improved team on offense. The Patriots do with Billy O'Brien coming back to town as opposed
hmm
to Matt Patricia and Joe Judge calling plays for your offense. So yeah, those are two games for sure that caught my eye. And again, like you said, I did not see the Bucks going up there to Minnesota beating the Vikings. I don't think the Vikings are going to be as good as they were last year, but I definitely didn't think the Bucks were better than the Vikings on paper going into that game to go on the road and beat them in a hostile environment to play up there at US Bank Stadium for sure.
I hope the Vikings are good this year. I live with a Vikings fan, so
Uh,
I don't need,
understood.
you know,
Understood. I think they're going to take a little bit of step back, but I think that they'll be
yeah,
decent. I think that obviously the main concern a lot of people with them is that quarterback play.
yeah,
I mean Justin Jefferson balled the hell out.
that he did.
I looked down and looked up. He had over 100 yards. I was like, damn. All right, let's look towards the upcoming week two. It'll all start tomorrow night, Thursday night, Minnesota at Philadelphia. We've got Green Bay at Atlanta, Las Vegas at Buffalo, Baltimore at Cincinnati, Seattle at Detroit, Los Angeles Chargers at Tennessee, Chicago at Tampa Bay, Kansas City at Jacksonville, Indianapolis at Houston, San Francisco at Los Angeles Rams, New York Giants at Arizona, New York Jets at Dallas, Washington at Denver. The Sunday night game will feature Miami Dolphins and New England Patriots. And we've got two games, ladies and gentlemen, on Monday night. New Orleans at Carolina and Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Which of these games are must-see TV, Kevin?
Well, of course, we did my Baltimore at Cincinnati. It's going to be a must see for two reasons. Baltimore's coming off that win that was just brutal. Cincinnati's coming off of a bad loss. It's going to be their home opener. I think it's going to be a dogfight, but I think it's going to be a good game. I see Baltimore coming out of it with like a 3-point victory, say like 27-24. Another one I think is going to believe, and I think it could be well, could be pretty good at least when paper is Green Bay at Atlanta.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what Green Bay can what if Green Bay can keep up the momentum. Atlanta's coming off their win, and I think it's just two young quarterbacks that are gonna have. Let's see what we can do to prove that we're legit. And then, of course, if Chicago loses to Tampa Bay, I'll just smack myself in the head. But it's possible.
Uh,
Of course, that Kansas City Jacksonville game could be pretty decent too.
yep.
How about you? What are you looking at?
Yeah, a couple games you mentioned already caught my eye as well. Kansas City, Jacksonville, where you dropped off at. We want to see if the Chris Jones coming back to camp, will he make the difference defensively? Because if you ask Chiefs fans, that's part of the reason why they lost, as well as Travis Kelsey. And if you ask Mike Tirico, apparently, that's part of the reason why they lost as well. How dare you say that on national TV, Mike? And then you got Tennessee and Houston. I think that that right there, you have two winless teams, but two improved teams. I still don't trust Ryan Tannehill, but Houston played us, I think, pretty good. They didn't score a lot of points,
Right.
but they played us pretty good. And again, I think that defense is better improved. If they can protect CJ Stroud up the middle, they got a chance in this game for sure. But I do remember last year, Derrick Henry, they just ran the hell out of him over Tennessee. I think probably over 200 yards rushing in one game down in Houston, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, that's how they won that game last year because Tannehill was out. So they had, I think, Malik Willis playing in that game. And then, like you said, Green Bay at Atlanta. Will Jordan Love be able to keep up his play, his 3 touchdown performance? Will he be able to cap that off in Atlanta? Desmond Ritter, they all look pretty good down there. They had a run game going down there as well. The rookie, I'm sure, will want to put on another show in front of the home crowd. Bijan Robinson and those young talented guys out wide with Kyle Pitts at the tight end position. He was pretty much shut out on Sunday, so hopefully he makes some plays because they're gonna be calling for his job soon too,
Yeah.
as well as the receiver down there. Damn, I can't think of his name right now, but y'all know who I'm talking about at home.
Right. And I got some news for you. Apparently, Kaepernick's agent called the Jets
Yeah,
to see if they were interested.
yeah. Let's talk about that real quick. If you were Joe Douglas and the Jets front office, what would you do of the guys that possibly are available? I know some guys that was talked about on First Take and other shows, sports shows this week have been Jameis Winston. Uh, Somebody even mentioned Matt Stafford, which I don't think would happen. I don't think they trade him out of there. Um, Somebody mentioned Taylor Heineke down there with the Falcons now. Uh, what who would you try to go after, or would you stick with uh Zach Wilson?
I mean, honestly, I probably would just stick with Zach Wilson. I mean, you could go after Heineke. He's young, but he's not to me a starting quarterback. I think Wilson would be a better. I think Wilson would. I mean, he's in the system. He knows the system. He's been in the system long enough. And if you want to go after like a Heineken as a backup, that's fine. But to bring in a quarterback and try to teach him your system in the middle of this in during the season,
Yeah,
I don't see that working out. I would just stay back with what I got, give Zach Wilson the ball, let him prove that he was truly the first round draft pick that everybody thought he was, and let's see what he can do.
gotcha.
He's got the weapons now, so let's see if he can put it together.
Okay.
How about you? What
I
would you do?
Me personally, I don't think that this would happen because he's in a divisional rival now. Mike White, in my opinion, he didn't play as bad as Zach Wilson did last year. Again, he's now with the Dolphins, so I doubt that they trade him. Like I'm sure they'd have to offer a really good package, which they're not going to for someone like him. But just to get a bite out of Miami, I think that they'd have to offer a good package. Again, I don't see that happening. But Trey Lance is a guy that I think that would make sense as well. Short term. Obviously, he just got traded to Dallas. I don't see this happening either, but it could be
Yeah,
something that they explore. You get yourself a young guy, another guy where, I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers is going to be focusing on his rehab, so he wouldn't be able to being in his ear like he was Zach Wilson during the offseason. But I do like Trey Lance more than Zach Wilson if I'm a Jets fan.
yeah. I mean, Trey Lance is good, but knowing what kind of position the Jets are in, Jerry, he's going to want the kitchen sink for Trey Lance.
Yeah.
He's going to want more than what he's worth.
Hmm.
I don't see it happening. I mean, it would be nice. I think Trey Lance would be great for them.
Yeah.
And like you said, he plays better than Wilson, but how quickly can he pick up the offense? I mean, if
Yeah.
he could, but Jerry Jones traded for him for a reason. He's not going to give him up unless you offer him basically the whole kitchen sink. I mean, you're
Gotcha.
probably talking at least 1 to 2 first rounders.
Yeah.
I can imagine in Jerry Jones's eyes, even though he's not worth it.
Hmm. I feel you.
Yep.
I understand. Hey, do you have a bold prediction? I forgot to go to that before we
Bold
start talking about
prediction?
this.
Sure, I
Yeah.
am. Sure do.
Go
I
ahead.
mean, let me think of my bold prediction for the week. Give me
You want me to go ahead and give you mine while
yeah,
you're
go ahead and
looking
give me
at
yours.
yours?
I'll think about
Okay.
mine.
I just thought of mine real quick because
Hmm.
I forgot all about it. I'm going to go with Dallas is going to shut out the Jets. They're at home in their home opener in Jerry World this coming Sunday afternoon. They play pretty good in those late game windows there at Dallas. I know a lot of people don't even think about this or even consider it. They get that Texas sun shining into that stadium, and that also plays a factor as well. We already seen what they did on defense um, to the Giants last week. Um, and again, Tony Pollard scored twice. Dak didn't really have to do much, but he tossed a touchdown. I think that they could shut out the Jets there at home. You found something?
Yeah, I got something for you. Okay, so we all know Jimmy G's the Jets is the Vegas is go to.
Yeah.
My bold prediction: Jimmy G throws for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, and hands Buffalo their second loss.
Woo! Mike Robinson on NFL Network would lose his mind. I never seen somebody that didn't play for one team. He played for the 49ers and won the Super Bowl with the Seahawks. Fullback he was, if you don't remember,
Mm-hmm.
and is so hyped over the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
So hyped. I mean, he act like he was drafted by them, or he had a massive contract, or he
Yeah,
won a Super Bowl there. Yeah, he would be sick if that happened.
but you heard it here first. Jimmy G
Gotcha.
throws for 250, 3 touchdowns, and Vegas hands Buffalo their second loss and their first home loss of the season.
We'll say, yeah, that's at home. Oh
Yep,
man, and that
that's in
the
Buffalo.
going cross country, that's always hard as well.
That's why it's a bold prediction.
Yeah,
Go bold or go
yeah,
home, right?
yep. I think that Dallas shutout is bold as well because
Oh yeah.
that defense is pretty good for the Jets. So
You
even
think
scoring on them is a little difficult as
do you
well.
think you think Dallas can second shutout? You think the defense can pitch a second one?
I think they can. I mean, we've seen how Zach Wilson plays.
Hmm.
They're gonna have to run the ball with Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook, and I think that's their only chance. I mean, no disrespect to the wide receivers as well, but they got to get the ball in their hands first,
Yep.
and that's probably not going to happen much.
Yeah, I
So,
hope it happens. It'd be nice. Shut them. I
man,
mean,
wouldn't that be
everybody.
something?
It would be funny.
That would be very. I don't recall that ever happening. Team shutout,
Two straight
two
shutouts.
shutouts to start the season. Yeah,
No, I haven't
that would.
either. So that's definitely a bold prediction.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, everyone. Another great week of football is headed your way, as we just mentioned. Thanks, Kevin, for another episode. Another
No
great show.
problem. Good to be here.
Same. Two Monday night football games, everyone. Make your choice wisely. We'll be back next time at the end of week 2. Have a great football week, everyone.